Hi, welcome to the School Community Huddle with Ana Martinez. Today we have a special guest that was already on our show, our fourth grade teacher, Nicole Maruyama. Welcome, Nicole.
Thanks for having me.
So Nicole is here specifically. This show is geared toward teachers today. I know a lot of teachers are having a hard time with just like understanding all the technology, understanding Zoom, Schoology, just like all of the different information systems that, you know, districts and charters and private schools are offering, which I think is great. But we just can't catch up with the amount of professional development and training that needs to happen with our information systems and getting creative to produce student engagement, right? To have student engagement. And so Nicole is here. Nicole and I have a special relationship. She was a teacher at the same school where I was the principal at. And we grew close, and I just loved seeing her teach. So in person, Nicole used a lot of technology in her classroom to engage students, to do small groups, to create stations for her fourth grade class. And so I just want to know, like, Nicole, how much of that have you taken on into distance learning, and how difficult was that transition for you?
I think I'm really glad that I tried to incorporate technology in at the start of my teaching career, but it's definitely carried over into distance learning as well. I do want to be honest and say it does take a lot of time to create the digital materials, but you can learn it if you just are consistent, and there's a lot of great resources now to use.
I love that. Well, today is really a how-to. So we're going to show you how to do some of these things, teachers, so that just in case your charter, your district, your school hasn't given you all the trainings and you haven't found it online, here's a hub. And if you want me to provide more trainings, let me know. We have a lot of teachers that have explored, used their own time to explore a lot of it. So I just want people to know, like, this does take time. So if you're a state legislature, principal, is someone who's writing policy or ed code or anything for the state of California or any of the states, please know this is taking a lot of time for our teachers. But teachers are such amazing beings that they're just creating, and they're using a lot of their own time to ensure that students are having access to a good education, an amazing education. So the first question is, which technology systems and hardware are you using that have helped teach your students, your fourth grade students?
I am using a ton of G Suite apps. So that's all the Google programs, Google Slides for lessons. Google Forms is a way to create like little assessments, little checkpoints. Google Classroom is where the kids go and access all of their assignments in their Bitmoji classroom. So basically all of the Google platforms I use a lot. Sheets is like a spreadsheet. I use it for grading. The Chrome Web Store is where you can get extensions in Chrome that a lot of teachers use to make learning more fun. You can add graphics or themes or colors to your computer. And then Kahoot, although not free, the kids do love that. As far as hardware goes, I know having something with a stylus is really important. So whether it's an Elmo where they can see how you're annotating, or an iPad or a tablet of some sort, that enables the kids to be able to see how you're note-taking, whether it's showing math or taking notes for ELA. Some other hardware I can think of are multiple monitors. The reason sometimes teachers want two is because they want to be able to see their presentation, and then they expand the view of the students on this separate monitor. Because what happens on one is that if you're presenting, it will minimize the amount of kiddos you can see, and then you can't be narrating and tracking them as well. So sometimes teachers use two monitors. I do use two. And then also just making sure we have our little ergonomic things for us, since now we're on the computer all the time. And sometimes we can like start to hunch over too much, or our body just feels under stress sometimes. Yeah, you can definitely use an HDMI cord, connect it to your PC. If I know I'm using my personal Mac, and if you have a lot of Mac things, you can instantly airport. So it's like an instant feature where it will connect what you see on your phone to your computer. And so it's just like 2 quick touches of a button, no wires. So if you do have Apple products, then you can airport really easily into Zoom from your phone.
Got it. Is there anything you'd want to show us today on how any of the information systems on how you've gotten creative to get your students' attention or engagement? Because I know 4th graders, it's such a hard grade. Like that's when the standards start getting harder for math, right? Fractions and all that. And then at the same time, like the comprehension level of text is getting a little bit harder. So is there anything that you have found that teaches maybe reading comprehension best for your students?
Yes, let me show you a couple of things that I've made. This is just like a cute little slide where it's me and all our co-teachers just giving out affirmations to the students. You just use the Bitmoji extension. You can put in different Bitmojis. And then this is just this would be an example of like my slide that they get. They get one every day. The only thing that really changes is like the agenda. But what's neat is you can link lessons, you can link assignments here. So this was their class rules. So everything is hyperlinked. Once it's all there, like it does take time to build, but what's nice is you're copying the slides once it's made and then just changing the lesson and the agenda. This is kind of a cute little, so you can link your contact info to yourself so that the kids can get to you quicker. Just making it as user-friendly as possible. This is cute. This is Jamboard. And this is a little love wall they did where they put little stickies and things they're proud of. So yeah, these are just some of the different things. This is the math, like this is a math slide. I put in like a YouTube song about math and there's different resources there. And then for ELA, this is like a little library. And we put all the books the different teachers read into the library. So there's also links to read alouds and then visual links to the books themselves. So those are some things I made.
I love that. So for those, you may not know, but that actually does look like Nicole's classroom. So that's so cool. How did you get that background? How did you even begin creating that? And how much time did that take?
I started a little in the summer, but to get it started, you would use Google Slides and you create, let me just pull this up so I can share it.
And if you have a Google account or if you have Google, you can sign up to get your own Google account and you have access to Google Slides, Google Sheets, Google, like you have, and most teachers know this, right? So here's a blank Google slide.
And then you would start it by adding a background. So you could choose your image. I was searching crystals, clearly. But you just do like a floor and wall background. And you can pick anything you like. So there's different kinds, different styles. I think I use this one. So there's that. And then I did change the background color. You just add a shape. And you can make it any shape or any color you want.
Oh my goodness, that's so cool. You just painted your walls.
Purple's a little bit strong. Let me just mute that down a little bit.
You know, for teachers out there, especially new teachers, there are certain colors that are stronger and evoke emotions in our students. Like some of my teachers loved red, and I would always say, if you're going to do red, just do one red wall, because red really brings out like a lot of passion, sometimes anger in some of our students, and like pastels, whites, like greens, like those bring out calmer emotions in students. It's like some of the brain science we would learn. And so a lot of our classrooms had those calming colors.
Like neutrals and stuff. And this little jigsaw up here, this is where your Chrome extensions are going to be. So there's some of my favorites, but let me find my Bitmoji. We're reading The Tiger Rising, so there's like a little tiger. You can put it there yourself. You can add, if you want to add your contact info, you would this is the hyperlink button, and you can put any sort of address, like web address there, and it'll take you there. And then if you want to add furniture and stuff, you would just insert image, search, and then the trick is to say transparent. So transparent whiteboard, and then you can there it goes. So this one had little chairs attached to it. So you can, if you double click the image, you can crop it. Whoops. There we go. And then hit enter. And then you can just move it around wherever you want. And you just start building from there, and you can get as creative as you want. I know that there are also pre-made ones. So to save yourself some time, you can find some of the pre-made classrooms and then just customize it from there. So that would be a nice shortcut to save some time.
That's so awesome. Thank you, Nicole, for just really understanding complex text. So typically, Nicole would have had either a small group or done reading conferences where she would meet with one kid for like 5 to 7 minutes. How have you started to do some of that online?
It's still a work in progress, but we have our whole class together for instruction in a block, but we also have student check-in times. So you could create a schedule where you see certain students on certain days. You open your Zoom, they know to come to you, and that's kind of like where you could do little checkpoints together. You can still also have small groups with Zoom by scheduling it with the kiddos and looping in parents. So a small group, we could meet for 30 minutes later in the day. We could do shared reading together, guided reading, or have a discussion. Yeah.
And then where do you take because you would typically take notes like in a notebook. Are you still doing that when you're like looking and listening to student, like, okay, this student's getting a lot of the comprehension questions, and we would ask him tougher ones or ask him deeper questions about character development or so. Are you still doing that, or are we tracking it online? How's that work for you?
The kids, they still have tangible journals, but the way I'm checking their comprehension is I'm creating a Google form for them. So I'm putting that text in the form, and then you can add questions, different types, and see how they're doing. So that's like a little checkpoint for them there. You can also make an assignment and put it into their Google Classroom, give each of them a copy, and then they can interact and type in. So you can give them a couple questions and see some of their responses there too.
Okay, so that's it. Any closing tips for virtual learning and creating engagement with reading that you've learned during these past few months?
I think closing comments would be, we have to make it engaging for them. We need that buy-in. It's really hard to learn through the computer. So keeping things interesting, colorful, creative is helpful. Making things really user-friendly so that it's easy for the kids to access and have fun, I guess.
Yeah, I recently saw a viral video of I think kindergarten or first grade teacher that's going out on her recording herself teaching, and how engaging it is, and how many folks are like, oh my gosh, teachers do so much. Yes, teachers do so much, and it takes so much energy to be engaging. Like, you yourself have to have, like, especially the younger grade teachers, just like a level of engagement and enthusiasm. So if you're a teacher watching this, please take care of yourself, take care of your energy, You know, you're important and what you're doing is amazing. And we know how much you do for students, even if you're not creating a viral video of yourself and it's not getting out. We understand how much you do. You keep showing up, and kids, I know my own nieces and nephews really look forward to the time with their live with their teacher, right? Like it might only be 30 minutes a day, and it's what keeps them engaged. So giving them engaging activities to do independently is really helpful, because we weren't meant to learn alone. We were meant to learn in groups, right? So groupings is really how students build the learning with their synapses and make connections and all that. So thank you, Nicole, for being here today. I really appreciate it. You've given us some cool tools. I'm going to learn how to create a virtual background now and be engaging, hopefully even in my podcasts. So thank you all. And remember, families, if you learned one thing from today, then I did my job. You are enough. We appreciate you. Until next time. Bye.